already streaming?
No,
Oops.
they're probably in
Got it. And my computer just started.
it's supposed to be, yeah, right on the, bottom one.
Got it.
So we go up the line. Yeah. There you go.
All right.
You switch it up.
Okay. My Facebook? Maybe? Does anyone want to double check it, or should we just go?
I'll go on to switch it up.
So many tabs. GUIs are complicated.
Yeah,
It's working? Good? Awesome. Hi everyone, I'm Max. Sorry for the long setup time, but hopefully it's worth it. I'll be presenting along with Daniela. I'm part of SEC. FTP has let us put on a guest presentation for you guys. The rest of my e-board's over there and chairs. Hi, Sergio, among others. But yeah, we're SEC. So hopefully you guys have NetBeans installed. I would love you guys to follow along because you always learn more when you do. Just kind of a few short things. So this is going to be a nice and short and sweet tutorial. You know, I had a lot to do. You guys have a lot to do with finals and stuff coming up. So I wanted to get you guys with your foot in the door. I wanted to get you guys some practical knowledge that you can use for pretty much every program, even if you don't want to make a full-fledged GUI. You'll be able to make at least input boxes for every program, and then I'll show you the tools you need to easily build more complex GUIs that are not that hard to make. Okay, so what is a GUI? What is Swing? Because sometimes we're like, you know, GUI, we throw, you know, I used to say GUI, but that's totally wrong, so don't say that. GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. It's how most of us want to interact with our computer. You know, some of us are weird like me, where we like command line tutorials and stuff like that. But yeah, it's usually how we want to interact with a program. Swing is basically Java's cross-platform GUI. So the awesome thing about Java is that it runs on every platform. Every computer has Java, and every Java platform has Swing. And so unlike when you make something with, for example, C++ or even C# and stuff, which are usually system-specific. For example, you code for Windows or you code for Linux. With Java, you can make one program that runs on everything relatively flawlessly. And just as a contrast, the other term, you know, if GUI is graphical interface, then CLI would be the usual command line. So I'm assuming that's what most of you always use for your programs. And here in the corner we have an example. But again, everything I'm using right on the screen is an example. Okay, so this is kind of a breakdown on how GUI applications are made. I know it might seem a little basic, but I want to get you guys in the mode of thinking about how we're going to structure this in code. Okay, so our first kind of outside object is the window. Oh, sorry. GUI applications are arranged hierarchically. See, I literally put a link here so I could then play the feedback. Except that it's not playing.
Hierarchical.
Hierarchically. Hierarchically. Okay, anyway, yeah, it's that. So what I mean by that is that in a GUI, components can go within components, which then can go within components. So it's hierarchical. For our GUI apps, we're going to make more simple ones, so we won't really get into this kind of nested stuff, but just know that you know, you can probably visualize it. If you have a window, you can put two panes of stuff. You know, anyway. So with every GUI app, especially in Java, we start with the window, and in Java, that's called the JFrame. Okay, so that's like a bare bones essentials. That's the bare bones what you need to have a GUI app. So technically, this is a GUI app. It's not a good one. It doesn't have any buttons. It doesn't have any text. It doesn't do anything. But it has a window, and it shows up on the screen. It's the hello world of applications, of GUI applications. And there's only one. Of course, if you have multiple windows, you'll have multiple JFrames, but we'll be adding a lot more components, but we'll only have one JFrame. So these are what you might call labels, just plain text. They're just to tell the user, you know, basically to label components. in Java, swing, those are called JLabels. So kind of get the pattern here, frame, label. These are input fields. These are two different types of input fields. This is kind of your standard kind of text input field, and then this is a more specialized one. And so in Java, we call these JText fields, and a more specialized version, JPassword field. And you might be able to imagine there's a lot more of these. Like I'm sure there's one for phone numbers, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of specialized versions, but there's almost always a generic one to go along with it. And then, of course, the humble J button. And so that is how we do most of our things. So, you would fill these out. Butterflies are cool, 0 to 1, and a very secure password. And then you would use the button to assign some sort of action to take the information from these fields and actually do something with it. And then, so just kind of wanted to point some more things out here. So the hint text. So for example, this probably isn't what the user's going to type in. That was just me doing it as a joke. And so the hint text is something you can set just to suggest to the user what should go in there. You guys have seen this before, but sometimes we don't realize these components until we see them, until we have to actually code them. And on the J button, so the J button alone doesn't do anything. The J button will need an accomplice. I'm going to call him ActionListener. And he is the guy that will actually allow us to click on the button and perform some action. And so we'll get more into that in our example, but just be aware that buttons alone are just pretty. Buttons with action listeners do stuff. Okay, so we've kind of gone over the basics of a GUI application. And this is where I kind of promised you guys that I want you to be able to use GUI components in all of your future applications. Okay, so these are like the one-liners where you can turn boring input from a terminal into GUI input with no work. You don't have to design any interface. These are all built into Java. They honestly work pretty well. So this is called JOptionPane. It's a one-liner, basic no-effort dialogues. And so this is when we break out our IDEs and stuff, and we're going to start coding some stuff. So I will create an empty project. I have a lot of tabs open. Oh my God, it's really weird to see yourself live streaming. It's really eerie. I agree. Biggest lie on the internet. Okay. All right. So I got NetBeans here. Looks very similar to Eclipse. In fact, I have Eclipse open as well. In Eclipse, you might right-click, new Java project. In NetBeans, you might, new project. Very similar. For this part, you can use either. It doesn't matter. And I highly recommend you guys follow along if you can. So we're going to make a new Java application. I'm just going to call it JOptionAwesome, because that's what it is. Main class is fine. Go ahead and finish that. Okay, so I'll turn this later. All right, so we got an empty class with a main method. Cool. All right, so JOptionPane. One-liners. Okay. Sorry. I wish swiping between presentation. Did I just close the presentation? I did. It's okay. I got it. Make a new tab. Let me try and get my life together here, guys. Okay. Basic note. Okay, so this is how we show a basic message. And unfortunately, I don't think it lets me copy anything, which is unfortunate. Okay, we'll do it the old-fashioned style. So it's the most basic way to make a GUI interface is with a JOptionPane show message dialog option. And so I'm going to paste this in here. And it's going to say, hey, you don't have that installed, or hey. So usually your IDE will offer some way to import it. I know in Eclipse it looks slightly different. In fact, I can go ahead and show that. So if I paste this here in Eclipse, there'll be a lot of things to import, and we have kind of a blanket import later. But if you type any of these things, they're common enough and well known enough within Java that you should be able to just hover over an error, and the first option should be to import it. So import JOptionPane, and there we go. And so show message dialog does what you think it would do. It shows a message dialog with whatever text you want. So obviously you got to make it very mature. What up, doe? This is SEC GUI tutorial. And let's try and throw it off by putting some emojis. No, I don't want to break it in front of a live stream. I would do it normally though. That's kind of my thing. Just put good emojis and try to break things. And I did some formatting things. So if we run this, eventually it's Java, so give it some time. It makes this really nice little window. And this is kind of stupid, but you might be able to imagine how being able to just see something pop up, when a result is calculated. Think maybe in programming too, when you're doing your magic square, having the magic square pop up, in a window is kind of nicer than having it run in the terminal only. Especially when you lose the console, you actually accidentally close the tab and stuff. I do that all the time. So let's kind of, unfortunately, my transitions no longer work anymore. But let's take it up a notch. So there's barely any more effort, not very fancy dialogues. So it uses the same syntax, the show message dialog. But now we get to add a title and what I most like about it, a message type. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll go ahead and comment this out. Oops, that doesn't work in Eclipse. That's okay. So I'm going to add a comma. I know this formatting might be weird. You could put it on all on one line if you want, but this is generally clear in my opinion. So the title of the window will be very mature message. And then the cool part is you get to choose the type. So what icon shows up along with it. And there's 4 options for you. There's plain message, information message, error, and warning. And you'll have to, plain is the boring one. Don't use this one. I wish strike through was easier to use because I would just cross it out. But one of my favorites is warning. Adds a cute little triangle next to it. See, nice little icon, that's cute, right? And then we have error as well. Just messing around. It's good to just learn these components. Oh look, see that looks very bad. So if you're one of your programming assignments through an exception or something, or an error happened, or they put an invalid input, that might be a good window to pop up. But you can see with one line we can show these message dialogues. But it's still not very impressive. Alone, they're kind of boring. And what about input max? I want to be able to take an input. Well, luckily, there's another thing for that. And in fact, it's even easier. So show input dialog, right off of JOption pane. It's kind of magical. It's honestly, I don't even know how it works, but it's great. So say we wanted to, I don't know, have it taken in some string and then reverse the contents. So instead of doing that in the terminal, you could say, please enter a string to reverse. And based on what type you return here, the JOption pane will automatically convert the type to that. And it's easy to say that this is what it should do, but honestly I don't know from an OOP perspective how that works, because the show input dialog never changes. And so what we can do is, so we ask for a string, and we can just take that string. I hope this is a method. I remember it being one. Oh, it's not. Okay, I thought reverse was a method. It's not. To uppercase. To make all caps. Wrong programming language. An info one, information message. Because this is not an error or warning of any sort. Okay. So you get this nice little dialog. Please enter a string. Sorry, not max. That's selfish. And there you go. You get a nice big dialogue. And again, this is the basics, but it's one-liners, and you'll begin to appreciate this in our next section when it's not one line anymore. And again, I just want to kind of show off that I wish I knew how to comment in NetBeans, like block comment, but I don't. That is usually how you do it. In NetBeans? All right. It's okay. Thank you for telling me. I was about to delete it. So again, it magically knows what input you want. So if you put int, add 1 equals j option pane dot show input dialog, and whatever the equivalent of IntelliSense can help you out so you don't have to type all that by hand. So, we can make like a really simple adder application. Oh no, it worked before? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's weird. Could be because this is using an older version of Java. ParseInt, thank you. Sorry about that. It used to work, but you can wrap it in integer.parseInt to get the first column. Oops. Do it again. I think you guys are getting the idea. But, and I'll show you how horrible that plain message is, because this really is bad. Like, you really don't want to use it. Okay, so we'll call it plain. So this is the title, so we'll call it the result. Crap. Add 1 plus add 2. That should work. No? This is why you don't make up examples on the fly. Very bad example. I think you can do integer dot to string. No? There we go. Okay. Cool. All right. J option pane, everyone. All right. So we'll get on to the good stuff. So continuing on, transitions that were supposed to work. So here's our first real Java Swing app. So this is actually going to create that JFrame that we talked about earlier, and then we're going to make it show. Again, very, very simple, but this is going to be the basis of our next example. So just a note on some of these imports. So for this basic example, only this import is necessary. But I want you guys to go ahead and type the next two for our next segment, which will be a more advanced sample program. And so since you guys have to type along, I will type along as well. Maybe, oops, oh, that's supposed to work. Maybe I can zoom in here. I'll zoom in a little bit. So I'll make a new project here so I don't delete that. We want to call this as my first GUI app. Spelled wrong. Okay, and so I'm going to copy paste and then I'll zoom in on it. I think I have to put these before. Dot event. And definitely type this because this will be the basis of our next example. Okay. So we create a new JFrame and tell it to show itself. And yes, we didn't set it a size, so it's going to show up in your screen really tiny. But if you see it, we have a nice empty box. And this will be our canvas on which to create a more complicated application. But that's it. That's the basic. Do you want to take over? So our next app is a Madlib app, and it's going to be glorious. How many of you guys are still writing this down? Oh, it's not working right. See that? Okay. You probably want to put that stuff here. switch with them.
Hello, everyone. So most of you are familiar with what a Madlib is, right? Yes? It's Madlib? Everyone?
Right,
Yeah.
yes, you fill in the blank, exactly.
So we're basically going to make a GUI with that idea in mind. The source code is on our GitHub at Swing Tutorial.
But we're just going to type it on the screen as we go along, too. But if you guys ever want to refer back to it, you can look there.
So we're going to start off with some labels. Can you type out JLabel, call it,
You want me to make this bigger?
call it, yeah. LAdge equal to new JLabel. And we're going to say adjective.
And in the constructor, we're actually setting the default. So label, if you guys remember from the explainer earlier, is just text in your GUI. So we're making a label, a piece of text that's called adjective. And so we got to create these components individually in code. But we'll see that more as we go along.
Now we're going to create a text field, and we're going to call it TH equals new JText field.
Yeah. And here you can provide the default value. So in this case, we're going to put something funny for an adjective.
All right then, so let's keep going. It's going to be a surprise. You'll see what it is at the end. So let's make a noun. So let's call it JLabel noun. And then JText field tNoun equals new JText field. And there we go.
That's not a. Oh, it is a noun. Sorry. How are we doing this sound?
Not yet. I'm going to make a JLabel called Annie equals new JLabel animal, and make a text field. Once again, this is going to get very annoying very quickly.
Feed in the annoyance.
Yes,
Feed
yes,
in the annoyance.
bask in it. Yes.
Bask in it.
Yeah. No, they want you to be annoyed. They want it to be annoying. So let's say kitty. Label L noise equals new J label. There we go. On J text
I think you mean noise.
field.
Noise. Not speech.
Oh,
okay.
You're right. You're right.
It's really easy to do that.
So then let's do T noise equals new J text field. Screech. Okay.
All right. Is everyone with us so far? Is everyone getting any compile errors? Maybe we should read down the screen for a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Everyone okay?
Raise your hand if you're caught up. Okay. One person. Okay.
Excellent.
That's how you know. They don't answer because they're trying to type as fast as possible.
Right. I'm going to start commenting.
So you need to like say, you're done. Because then you have time to talk. While we're at it, I'll introduce Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Been drawing him since elementary school. It's my friend. All right, how are we doing, guys?
Oh, okay.
No comment.
Everyone okay? So far, so
And
good.
did anyone miss those imports from earlier?
You're gonna need them.
Let's scroll up real quick.
There we go.
And you can import them individually if the IDE suggests it, but this is just the easiest way to do it. We probably want to we'll go ahead and display it. So we already created a panel. So we need to do this.
Panel.set layout.
Then we need to add that.
Is everyone okay with the importing? Yep. Okay.
So we can actually, we don't need this at all. We can close that so we have more. Yeah.
Vertical space.
Perfect.
Right. So now we're gonna start. We made the no, we haven't made the pan.
Didn't we? Oh, we made the frame.
We'd have made the frame.
I apologize.
So right now we're gonna make a panel. We call it panel. New JPanel. And what do we call it? Nothing.
Oh, panel.
Just a panel. And we're gonna put this neat bit of code. Don't question it for now.
Well, I was gonna say we could do it without it. See how they can see how ugly it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll write it out and then comment it out.
Right.
Box layout, panel, box layout, dot page axis. Okay.
And basically, what that does is it's gonna change the way that our panel will render the elements. We'll comment it out for now, so you'll see how it does by default. Not very good. And then we'll add it back, and you'll see what the difference is.
All right.
With that done, it's time to actually, so we created the objects that represent the GUI components, but we haven't actually added them to anything. So that's our next step.
Well,
Right?
we can make the button first. So
We can wait on the button, I think.
oh.
Yeah.
So we're going to start by panel.add. And we're going to say L, edge, panel.add. I'm just going to get
Yeah, you might want to
so
copy panel.add.
annoying. Yeah.
Again, bask in the annoyingness.
Yes.
We'll see why later.
All right.
Cool.
So we're going to put in L-edge, T-edge, L-noun, T-noun, L-Annie, T-Annie, L-noise, and T-noise. Use my chart.
That's all we have so far.
Yep.
Sweet.
Look up when you're done.
That includes you live streamers. I guess we have to do
Add it to the frame.
set the title.
I know. Why do we do this?
Well, just to make them appreciate it.
Is everyone okay? Yes?
I think that at least they can see that part.
Okay. Right. So now we're gonna make a frame.
I think that's what we made at the top.
Oh, that's true. We already made it. Up here we have the J frame,
Okay.
and we set it this way. So now we're gonna do things to the frame. We're gonna frame.add panel. We're gonna say frame.set title. Our awesome Madlib. And we're gonna say frame.set size 450 by 1000, and that's just pixel size, essentially.
You don't even need that one, I don't think.
No, not really. Then we're gonna say frame dot set default close operation.
I love Java.
JFrame dot exit on close. There we go.
I don't know if that's really necessary, but it's definitely good practice to do.
Frame dot
We already
set.
did that. I don't think.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Okay, so just to kind of give you, I know we kind of blindly typed for a little while there. So just to recap, we created the individual components, and instead of adding the components to the window directly, we added them to a frame because it gives us more flexibility on how to lay them out, which is this commented out thing you'll see. And then we added that frame to the panel. So this is what I mean by that word I can't pronounce.
Hierarchical.
Hierarchical, right? So we have a we have a JPanel, or sorry, what do we have? We have a JFrame that contains a JPanel that contains a bunch of other components, and you can imagine how that could even nest further. So all right, I think we can run it.
So soon. Are they ready? Oh.
Absolutely right.
Let's see.
I think that's why you need the set default close operation.
There we go. Okay. And here's our awesome Madlib.
Yes. Very awesome. That was a lot of typing, right?
Yeah.
Kind of sucks. All right, well, we're gonna do more.
We're gonna keep more typing. We're gonna keep
all right,
typing.
Well, let's go ahead and add that line just to show them the difference it makes.
All right.
So within panels, without getting too much into it, there's different layouts which tell you how all the things are set on the screen. And all this is going to do is make it so instead of like in one arbitrary line that doesn't have a fixed size, it's going to go one after the other on top of each other.
Basically the difference between having like scrolling text all the way across and having it in different rows.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Did you know? Oh, there it goes.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. So yes, it is still, it's not the prettiest thing, but it is more
functional.
Consistently formatted.
Yeah. All right then.
So I guess
let's move on.
We'll go ahead and run it again. I want to have a little spiel. So,
okay.
Microscopic spiel. Notice we don't have any buttons or output. So our current, we can now take an input, but we can't do anything with it yet. So that's our next step. We're going to actually add a button and then add an output, what are they called? Label to actually show our Madlib text. Oh, the defaults. I think we need to add the button up here.
Yep. So now we're going to make our famous J button. Call it button equal to new J
The humble J
button. And we're going to say, here we go.
We had too much fun making this.
Way too much fun. J text area result equal to new J text area and call it wait for it.
So that's going to actually show where our final text, but the default value is not going to be a Madlib. Java. Yes. Java. Okay, and then we need to add them to the button result.
We're going to keep all the panel.adds together, so we're going to add...
We'll have to move it up, but I guess it's okay.
Yeah, I'll just move it later. Panel.add result.
So we're going to keep all our components together.
I'm going to move this right up there. There we go.
Perfect. Gotta get this going. It's great.
Is everyone okay? Do I need to move to a certain area?
Looks like everyone's
Good? Okay. So let's run this and observe.
Our masterpiece.
Okay,
Here we go.
and nothing happens. But why?
But why?
I wonder why. So this is the part where we're going to start actually making our GUI perform actions for us.
What do we need to perform actions? Action listener.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Love your.
You
Oh,
make
this is
the-
really badly formatted on GitHub, but all right, this is the line you want.
Got it. Button. Dot.
So we're actually adding an action listener to the button because we could add it to other things, but the button's what we really care about. We don't care about anything else until the button is clicked. And so we're going to do some syntax here that, maybe if you are in programming 1 or 2, it will look a little funky. But you'll actually see this a lot, especially if you go into Android development and such. So what we're actually doing is subclassing action listener. And I know that's really weird to see it in the syntax. Oh, dude.
Why is everything?
You have to do the brackets after.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True. I didn't see that.
And then what is it? It should be complaining about.
Well, that there's nothing inside.
Yeah, all abstract methods. So you can do it. So we're actually subclassing abstract listener. Sorry, action listener, and it has some abstract methods. How many of you guys know what abstract methods are? Okay, cool. So most of you. Okay, I don't know. I'm not important. So anyway, Eclipse isn't complaining because of a syntax error. Eclipse is actually complaining because it said, hey, you subclassed action listener in line, but you haven't implemented its abstract methods. So if you highlight over it, click on I think it's the little goldy thing about it.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and let the IDE do the work and add
There you
that.
go.
Okay, cool. You probably want to remove the unsupported operation. So here's where we actually add our code. So this annoyingness. Oh, I'll go ahead and put this on Pastebin.
Yeah. Let's start doing that.
Because this is, so basically the Madlib, as you might imagine, is a lot of string interpolation. And you could type it out here, but you would hate us. And so instead, I'm going to put it on Pastebin, and you guys can all copy paste it from the internet. If you want to type the string things,
Yeah.
yeah, you can describe how to get text out of the. Yeah, you can remove that. Yeah, because we're actually going to make it a supported operation. Oh, why did I do that? Here. Okay. So what we're going to do is actually extract the text out of the text fields. And we're going to put them in smaller variables just so it's easier to make our Madlib work. This is gross. This is Java. Okay. Oops. I have the link when everyone's ready. Everyone, oh, I gotta erase Bob. No, you can't really see that. We'll do it on the screen. They're really not going to have to see it.
And so basically what this is, text, let me see, T-noise, got it,
You actually spelled it
yeah. Alright, so basically what this is we are making a string variable called adjective, noun, Annie, noise, and we're setting it equal to whatever text we get from t-adj.
So go ahead and go to the web browser. You can use this too.
Okay. Where is it on?
You can do the fancy. Ooh.
You learned this today. Can you tell?
All right, so pastebin.com/ lowercase t, 5, capital E, lowercase g, capital F, 6, MG, lowercase. So, oh no, it's too big.
What is it?
So yeah,
There
make
we
the
go.
window a little bigger so they can see the field. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. But anyway, you can see this whole annoying thing here, and why we didn't want you to have to type it by hand. You already probably hate us for having to type everything else. Oh, gross.
Command backspace or like all of the line to like have those
I think it's, oh, that works too. Okay, cool. You can also do command left and
Shift.
bracket. So anyway, this doesn't really need to look pretty. It just needs to work.
So as you can tell, we are doing Old MacDonald for our Madlib. MacDonald had a noun.
Wait,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
gotta see the magic. Just let them wait.
Alright.
Let them wait. It is magical. It's funnier than you think. Maybe. Hopefully. Is that good?
Everyone okay?
Look up one little
Good? Okay.
bit.
Alright then. Let's move on.
Try running it.
Yep.
Alright, so that was the last component. So
Let's see.
we didn't mess it up, which is possible.
Alright. Let's
All right,
think of adjectives.
Let's take it from the crowd. Adjective.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
I thought of the wrong.
Adjective, guys.
Adjective. Anyone?
Ends with ly.
That's not an adjective. That's an adverb.
Oh!
Come on, guys.
Can you tell I don't like English?
Humor us.
Nerdy.
There we go.
Nerdy. Okay. Nouns. It's not a noun.
Well, it is. It is.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Well played. Well, that's not. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It adds to the effect.
Animal.
No, same two people twice.
Come on. Noise.
What does it say?
What?
We.
We.
Okay.
Alright, here we go. Nerdy MacDonald had a hierarchy. In that hierarchy, he had a fox with a wee wee here and a wee wee there. Here a wee, there a wee, everywhere a wee wee. Nerdy MacDonald had a hierarchy.
E-I-E-I-O.
Woo!
We had our first GUI, people. Awesome.
See how annoying that was? You're
Okay.
gonna like this part.
All right. So, yes. Thank you.
Where's the magic?
The magic is next. So, I wanted you to painfully type that out by hand so you'll never have to do it again. So the reason I had you install NetBeans is because we can do this all with another GUI. It's like a GUIception. You can create GUIs with GUIs. So let me go to my instructions. So you guys all have NetBeans open? NetBeans open? Good. All right. So I'm going to make a new project again. And we're going to make a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion app. So a new Java application. So be careful here. So I'll call it C2F converter. Don't create the main class. That's really the only kind of gotcha that you can do for this. Okay, I'll click finish. I'll go ahead and collapse all this so we don't get confused. Okay, I'll put my slides on this and just make that full screen. It'd be better. I mean, just some kind of advantages to NetBeans. So it's a graphical GUI builder. It generates all the necessary code for you, and all you have to do is that logic that links things together. If you go in like the Oracle documentation, they will actively discourage you from doing what we just did by hand. Like they say, why don't you use NetBeans? Why don't you use NetBeans on every single swing tutorial? So use NetBeans. That's what Oracle wants, and that's the right way. And especially when you do more tedious things such as adjusting font color and size. I mean, you saw how annoying it was just to set the window size. I didn't even look that good. So basically, what?
Text, buttons.
Yeah, everything. Like it's ridiculous how much code it generates once we start doing a little bit of customization. Okay, so all right, so this is the actual. Do I need to move the camera again due to differences in height? Certain differences. No, I just don't want like people like to see.
Oh.
Whatever you want. It's good. All right. So deselect create main files. All right. So we're going to right click on our project. And here's where the magic happens. It's literally all you have to do. We're going to make a new JPanel form. I just want to make sure this JFrame form. I apologize. We're going to make a new JFrame form. We can call this whatever we want. I'm going to call it Celsius. I don't know how to spell, guys, so that's going to be an issue. Like you'd think, senior in college should be able to spell, but no, not today. It's it's highly recommended we don't use the default package, so we can do the SEC and FTP are awesome package, but really it doesn't matter. Okay, and here we have our blank canvas. And it's really this easy. Like, we have our blank canvas, and here's our palette of all our swing components, and we just drag and drop. So I'm going to do things for our Celsius converter. So I'm going to make a label, make another label. Is everyone caught up to this, by the way? I don't want to go too fast. Yes?
Is this the visual coding environment for BPE?
This is a BPE, yes. And in fact, I was going to show this later, but you'll be able to see all the source code generated here, and you'll see how ridiculous it gets over time.
Like another design pattern.
Yes, it's really funny. So all the FTP guys, but definitely do take design patterns if you have a chance. All right, so I'm going to drag two labels. Oh, I apologize. Two labels, but in different places. Forgot how this looked. Sorry, going by memory. And then we're going to add a text field, just like we did in the other one. No typing involved. And then we're going to make a humble J button. Okay. Wow, this looks really bad. I think I did it backwards. Apologize, guys. Okay. Now it all lines up. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect, and yeah, it looks weird. Those are supposed to help you line things up. I don't really get it, but it's okay. And so just going to take a look around what we've created. So we have the palette that has all of the swing components here. So even the ones we don't know about yet, we could drag them on there and use them. The design view, which is this view here, again, a graphical visualization of all that code we would have had to type by hand. And due to Sergio's very funny joke, we also saw the source view already. And what I really wanted to emphasize was here, this properties view. Because here, all those annoying properties, such as the window size, the name of the window, the type of font you want, the icon, the background color, all of that stuff is contained in this properties field when you click on the corresponding item. So for example, if we wanted to add the name of the window, we can go here to title. If we click on this outside box, we can change this to CS converter. And there it already generated the code for us. And you can even set things that you didn't even know existed, like always on top, to make your program super annoying. And the default size, all kinds of stuff. It's really powerful. And on the left here, you actually see that hierarchy I was talking about too. So Here we have the outside JFrame and then all of our internal components. And if we had nested components, you would see them nested in the hierarchy. Okay, so we set the title. We drag some text fields. Okay, so let's rename them to something more intelligible. So we'll call this, actually we don't want any text in there by default because it doesn't make sense to have a default temperature. And for this text field we'll put Celsius, not spell. For the J button 1, oops, don't double click. Oh no, cancel. Oh, that would have been really bad. Okay, sometimes it doesn't work right. If not, go ahead and right click, edit text. And this we want convert. And this we'll call the text. Fair, I can never spell Fahrenheit. Fair, fa, ren, heat. Okay, cool. All right, cool guys. All right, so obviously this text view is not very pretty. And so we're going to take further advantage of the power of NetBeans by doing cool stuff like this. So, visually speaking, I want the button and the text view to line up. It makes sense that they would always be the same size. That way their labels on the edge kind of hang out nicely. So I can do that by clicking them both. Auto resizing, same size, I apologize. And I want to make them the same width. So just by clicking on two things, you can associate them so they're always symmetrical. Really nice feature. So we've renamed the actual label, but if you look here, it's still kind of incomprehensible. That's because the variable names themselves that are in the code have not been changed. So we're going to do that. So you could right-click here, change variable name, but I'm actually going to do it here, and just to mix it up. And we're going to call these something intelligible, so when we do our logic, like we did before, we can refer to them without hating ourselves. So change variable name. We'll call this one Celsius label. So that's what it is. And notice I'm doing the camel case because this is a variable name. We're no longer just presenting information to the user. I'll change variable name to this, to Fahrenheit label. Okay, and then this text field, we'll call it temp text field. Since it won't actually, just put our intermediary values. And then on this button, we'll call this the convert button. Okay, and now we have a really nice kind of visual layout with all our variable names there. And one of the last steps, we're almost done with our converter app. And so one of the last steps we want to do is just make the window not obnoxiously large. And so we'll go ahead and kind of fit it to be the right size. That looks nice. Anyone nod at this point? No? You guys see how much faster this is? So we can go ahead and save this and run it. It's going to ask you, hey, what's your main class? And our main class is actually the panel we created. So just click OK. And without further ado, woohoo! That was a lot faster, huh? So we can put in numbers, and of course convert doesn't do anything yet, but it will. Okay, and that's next. And so again, I just want to show you guys how easy it is to add functionality. So instead of having to do that whole action listener code ourselves and all that stuff, we can just right click on whatever we want to react to events. So notice how it's bold. It's kind of like, what do you usually do for this kind of component? So in this case, we do an action, action performed. We click on that, and it actually creates a private method for us, already done. And in this code here, all these variables that we've created in the design view are available. So just by right-clicking, oops, apologize. Just by right-clicking and having it generate this method, we can go ahead and make the code to cause this thing to run. So I'll go ahead and type that out here. So we're going to get the Celsius text and convert it to a number. Since GUIs don't really have a concept of type of input, perhaps unlike more mobile-oriented frameworks, we actually have to convert the string to an integer. So it's a double Celsius. So again, we're doing parse double since we have to convert it from a string. And again, all those variable names are available. So in this case, we want to take it from the temp text field. Hit text, just like we did before, but without the intermediary strings. And that's our Celsius value that the user inputted. Okay. So this is where we'll do the conversion. I'll make it an int just so we don't have like a million trailing decimal places when something doesn't align. Temp Fahrenheit. Sorry, I can zoom in on this. Temp Fahrenheit. So the normal Celsius conversion. I hope this is right. I think it's right. So set our temp, and now we'll just get rid of the decimal place because it's not important. And then we'll actually just assign that to the Fahrenheit label. So set. Set text. Excuse me. So basically we'll have that text that did just say Fahrenheit to begin with, include a number in the beginning. And that's about it. So we now have a fully GUI application that works. So we can put in, I don't know, it is 0 Celsius, convert, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. You guys have created that. We created a GUI application just like that. You know, it took a lot less time, it was a lot less tedious. And again, you can do a lot more with it. So for example, if I wanted to change, well, you know, you can add borders. I'm trying to find something cool. Focusable, and there's a whole many. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can add in there, including fonts and stuff. I won't mess around with it now, but that concludes our tutorial for today. What have we gained? Oh, that just shows some of the benefits of NetBeans, but you guys already realized that. So, oh, sorry, this is already. So this is our final product. We wanted to say thank you for making it out from SEC and FTP and everyone live streaming. Just want to recap what you guys know. You guys can make GUIs with one line with JOption and Pane. You guys know how to do it the hard way with the JFrames and such, and then you guys know how to use NetBeans to create components and assign actions to them. So thank you again. How do I stop it?